My boyfriend wanted to break up with me the second he landed a stable government job. I quickly agreed and, for good measure, wished him and his precious little sister a lifetime of happiness. Then the apocalypse came. Blackouts, no running water, and a deadly heat wave. While my parents and I sat in our room eating hot pot and sipping ice-cold drinks, my ex and his girl were gnawing on cold, spoiled food and drinking muddy water. I was reborn. Right at the moment Mark was demanding we break up. I fought back the urge to kill him and agreed on the spot. Mark was stunned that I caved so easily. You really mean it? You'd better not be pulling some kind of trick. Don't come crying and begging for me to take you back later. I glanced at the score on my computer screen. 87. Same as last time. I didn't have much time, only 2 weeks. Seeing the smug, triumphant look on his face, I raised my hand and slapped him. Let's get one thing straight. I'm the one dumping you. When the rat plague came, Mark had pushed me out to appease a swarm of mutated rats. The searing pain of being torn apart felt like it was still etched into my bones. This time you'll pay for that in blood. First, I had to go to Mark's rental and get my cat, Jellybean. I opened the door and saw Mark's little sister, Tiffany, slamming Jellybean on the floor. I stormed over, kicked her square in the stomach, and snatched Jellybean back. Who the hell do you think you are, daring to touch my cat? Tiffany clutched her stomach and pointed at me. You hit me. Do you have any idea what you've done? I'm going to have my brother break up with you. They thought I didn't know, but I knew everything. This Tiffany wasn't Mark's half-sister. She was his mistress. In my past life, I really had been clueless. The first thing Mark did after getting his job was dump me. I was so desperate to win him back that I even bought Tiffany a Hermes bag, begging her to put in a good word for me. It wasn't until the apocalypse hit, and the three of us were trapped in his apartment, that I finally learned the truth. Mark walked right into the bedroom with Tiffany in front of me, and I realized the picture-perfect boyfriend I thought I had was cheating on me all along. After we ran out of food, they not only forced me to go out scavenging in the blistering heat, but even tied me to the bed, letting different men from the building violate me in exchange for a pack of ramen. When the rat plague finally came, Mark pushed me out to appease the starving swarm of mutated rats. Chloe, you love me so much. Why don't you die for me? Honey, won't your ex-girlfriend be mad? In the last moment, as I was pushed off the balcony, I didn't see two people. I saw two demons. I ignored Tiffany and started to leave with Jellybean. But just my luck, Mark got home right at that moment and saw me attacking his precious sister. Chloe, you're so vicious. Just because I broke up with you, you come here and beat up my sister. This is unbelievable. Hey neighbors, come and see this. My brother dumped this psycho Chloe for cheating, and now she's here taking it out on me. The door was open, and next to the apartment was a local card room. A crowd of gossiping seniors gathered around, pointing at me. Oh my, what's gotten into that young lady? I know that girl. Isn't that old man Miller's daughter from Building 2? I ignored them and shot a cold glance at the crowd. There was no point in arguing with these people now. The apocalypse would teach them a lesson soon enough. Humph. You two scumbags deserve each other. Tiffany was so furious she stomped her foot, forgetting all about her stomachache. You're the scumbag. Your whole family is. The moment I saw my parents, tears started streaming down my face. In my past life, Mark had kept me trapped, and I died without ever knowing if my parents had survived. Seeing me cry, my parents panicked. My dad grabbed a kitchen knife, ready to go settle the score with Mark. He dared to bully my daughter? He must have a death wish. My mom comforted me, stroking my hair. Sweetie, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Don't cry. It's not that, Mom and Dad. I missed you guys so much. I looked at their concerned faces, debating whether to tell them I'd been reborn. I pulled away from my mom's hug and looked at them seriously. Dad, Mom, what I'm about to say is going to sound insane. You'll probably think it's a crazy fantasy, but please, listen to me carefully. Trust me. Trust your daughter. I told them everything, about being reborn and the coming apocalypse, leaving out only the part about how I died. My dad listened in silence. So how did you die? I hadn't expected my usually gruff dad to ask that. I hesitated for a second, then told them the truth. My parents' eyes filled with tears. Honey, what should we do now? I asked hesitantly. You really believe me? You don't think I've lost my mind? My dad stroked my head. Whatever makes you happy, sweetie. Besides, it never hurts to have a little extra food in the pantry. My family owned a pharmacy, so we had plenty of medicine, a whole warehouse full. My parents had been pharmacists their whole lives, so we had everything from prescription drugs to over-the-counter meds. Food wasn't hard to get. The real problem was weapons. When disaster strikes, people go crazy. All humanity disappears. I needed to get my hands on some weapons. Seeing my troubled expression, my dad asked what was wrong. After I explained, he let out a laugh. Your old man has been selling medicine his whole life. I know a lot of people. Guns are hard to come by in this country, but not impossible. Let me handle it. The three of us pooled our cash on hand. We had about 500,000, but it was nowhere near enough. In my last life, I only survived for 6 months. I died just as the deep freeze was beginning, so I had no idea when the disaster would end. Mom, Dad, this isn't enough money. Dad, you know a lot of people find a way to sell the pharmacy, even if we take a loss. Then focus on getting some weapons for self-defense. Mom and I will start buying food, water, and daily necessities. That night, my mom and I drew up a shopping list while my dad contacted a real estate agent and started clearing out the spare bedroom and storage closet. Since we didn't know when the extreme weather would end, we planned to stock up for 2 years. 200 bags of rice and flour each, 50 barrels of oil, and 300 large jugs of purified water. 1,000 pounds of pork, 1,000 pounds of beef, and 500 pounds of various jerky. 100 cases each of instant ramen, self-heating hot pots, self-heating rice meals, canned porridge, and compressed biscuits. 100 cases of various dried fruits and canned fruits. Even though we had vitamin C pills, you can't live on supplements alone. We'll definitely need to reinforce the doors and windows. Tomorrow, I'll call someone to install reinforced glass and add a few more security doors, I said. My dad added that just buying water wasn't enough. We used a lot of water at home, so we needed to buy water purifiers. We also needed generators, at least 10 solar and 10 diesel ones. Honey, where are we going to put all this? We don't have room for all those big items. Oh, Mom, you forgot we live on the top floor. No one ever comes up here. We can just cover everything with a tarp. Who's going to know? All right then. Let's get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow it's all hands on deck. The next day, I was up at 6, earlier than I ever got up for an 8 a.m. class in college. Outside, the sun was shining brightly, a cool morning breeze was blowing, and the streets were bustling with seniors out for a walk and people heading to the morning market. No one could have imagined that in half a month, this place would become a living hell. I'm not God, I can't save everyone. Even if I tried to tell them, they'd just think I was crazy and probably have me committed. Honey, the pharmacy's sold. We got $3 million for it. The buyer wants us to clear it out today. A jolt of joy shot through me. What a great way to start the day. In the end, we split up. My dad took care of the money, emptying the pharmacy and overseeing the renovations at home, while my mom and I went to buy everything on yesterday's list. Before I left, I called a construction crew and told them to reinforce the glass, fortify the walls, and replace all the doors and windows with bulletproof ones. I demanded they finish everything within 5 days. The contractor hesitated, but money talks. A little extra cash solved the problem. I was about to drive to a nearby big box supermarket, but my mom stopped me. She took me out to the country, straight to a meatpacking plant, where we ordered 1,000 pounds of pork and 1,000 pounds of beef. The owner was thrilled with the huge order. Young lady, what are you doing with all this meat? My wedding, sir. We're hosting a huge reception, and with the swine flu going around, we don't trust the meat in the city. After paying the deposit, I had him deliver it directly to our warehouse. There was no way we could bring this much back to our apartment building without raising suspicion. My mom thought it was a waste of time for both of us to shop together. She took 200,000 and went to buy staples like rice, flour, and oil, while I went to a warehouse club for household goods. After we split up, I went straight to the wholesaler. 500 boxes each of paper towels, disinfectant wipes, and sanitary pads. 300 sets each of down jackets, thermal underwear, disposable underwear, electric blankets, down comforters, and cooling mats. I bought 300 cases of every kind of instant food I could find. As I was about to check out, I saw cat litter. Right, I needed supplies for Jelly Bean. I went back and got 1,000 pounds of cat food and 2,000 pounds of cat litter. The litter wasn't just for the cat. During the month-long heat wave when the water was out, flushing the toilet would draw way too much attention. The manager's face was practically splitting from smiling so wide when he saw how much I was buying. He gave me 15% off everything and free delivery. Miss, if I may ask, where would you like this delivered? I gave him the warehouse address and told him to deliver it tomorrow morning. Too many deliveries were scheduled for today. It would be bad if they all showed up at once. After buying everything, I had about 50,000 left. I went to an appliance store and bought 10 large freezers. My dad often used our big pickup truck for pharmacy runs, so I drove it and hauled 4 freezers straight to the warehouse myself. I ran into my mom, who had just finished her shopping in the country. Not only did she buy rice, flour, and oil, but she also got some cured meats, sausages, and all sorts of spices. She even got a huge bag of topsoil and a ton of vegetable seeds from local farmers, all heirloom varieties with high germination rates. My mom said if the weather hadn't returned to normal after 2 years, we'd at least have seeds so we wouldn't starve. I went online and ordered some nutrient solution, humus incubators, and some fertilized eggs to try to increase our seed success rate. Just then my dad arrived. The house wasn't finished yet, so we couldn't move everything upstairs. Let's hit the gas stations and get some gasoline and diesel before it gets dark. Dad, let's take both cars. You take the pickup, I'll take the sedan. We need to hit a bunch of different stations, not just the same one over and over. My mom stayed behind to sort through today's haul. She put things like seafood, meat, fresh vegetables, and fruit into the freezers and took inventory to see what we were still missing. My dad and I hit nearly every gas station in the city and its suburbs, but we only managed to get 50 barrels of gasoline and 100 barrels of diesel. I don't know how long the deep freeze will last. I don't think this is enough. Sweetie, if we run out of AC, we can use a stove. Tomorrow, let's buy some charcoal and firewood. That'll keep us warm for sure. I looked at my parents with admiration. Wow, you guys are pros. Older and wiser for real. Over the next few days, while the house was being renovated, we bought almost everything we needed. Worried I might have missed something, I looked up hundreds of prepper threads on Reddit and bought whatever was missing from our list. During a rare break, I scrolled through my social feed and saw Mark's big face. Tiffany was leaning against him, looking blissful. The other pictures made it clear they were having a great time at the beach. Mark especially looked like he was living the life, luxury hotel, a beautiful woman in his arms. Bikinis and beaches by day, seafood feasts and barbecues by night. I almost wanted to like the post, but I figured he probably didn't want to hear from me. Have your fun. Your good days are numbered. The renovations were almost done. 3 layers of bulletproof glass, 3 steel security doors, and surveillance cameras covering every blind spot outside. We lived on the 10th floor, the top floor. I added 2 more security doors at the entrance to the rooftop, and 2 more at the 9th floor landing. We decided to move everything from the warehouse at night and rest during the day to conserve energy. I took a long, comfortable hot shower and was just about to fall asleep when I got a text. The weather's been strange lately. You should stock up on some supplies. The sender was Cole. Cole's dad was a DEA agent who died in the line of duty. His mom couldn't handle the grief and passed away soon after. He was left all alone, practically raised by the whole neighborhood. My parents, especially, treated him like a second son. Cole worked for the Weather Service and had been away on a research trip for a while. He still hadn't returned. He was in some godforsaken place with no internet, and yet he sent me a text. It took our family of 3 nearly 2 weeks to move everything upstairs. Our 3-bedroom apartment was crammed with stuff. We were exhausted and starving. My arms ached so much I could barely lift them, but my heart felt full. Maybe we should just nibble on some compressed biscuits. We still have a ton of packages to bring up. No way. We need a proper meal to have the strength to work. In the end, My mom whipped up a simple meal of noodles and vinegar broth for each of us. Well, Chloe, scraping the bottom of the barrel already? I heard your dad sold the pharmacy. Is the family in some kind of trouble? I just got my government job. Need me to help you out? For old time's sake, I'll only charge you 50 grand. Damn it. I must have forgotten to check my horoscope today, running into this moron. I glared at Mark. Get out of my way. Chloe, my brother is just trying to be nice. Why are you being like this? This is who I am. I've got no class. What are you gonna do about it? Good dogs don't block the road. Move. Suddenly, the weight in my arms lightened. I'll handle her problems. Seeing the tall man beside me, my heart skipped a beat. Cole, when did you get back? A few days ago. I've been stuck at the office. Just got home today. We chatted as we walked. Cole stopped when he saw the 2 security doors on the stairwell. Cole, you were the one who told me to stock up on food, so I just added some doors. You can't be too careful. Being prepared is a good thing. I gave Cole 2 sets of keys so he could get in and out. There was 1 week left until the great heat wave. I kept $30,000 in cash and spent the rest on power banks, tablets, phones, laptops, and all kinds of books, comics, romance novels, and even encyclopedias on farming and animal husbandry. Along with that came some good news. The arms dealer my dad contacted said he'd deliver the goods tomorrow. We couldn't get guns and ammo, but bows, arrows, daggers, and tactical batons were better than nothing. That day, our family decided to have hot pot. Once the heat wave hit, it would probably be too hot to even think about it. My parents prepped the ingredients and made the broth in the kitchen, while I charged up all our electronics. I also downloaded 1,000 movies, 10,000 novels, and tons of videos on survival, farming, gardening, and technology, plus a variety of offline games. In the apocalypse, good food isn't enough. You need mental stimulation, too. Sweetie, I saw Cole is back. Go invite him over for dinner. He was the one who reminded you to stock up, after all. Since I wasn't sure what Cole knew, I had told my parents about his cryptic text message. I walked next door and knocked. Cole, are you home? We're having hot pot and wanted you to join us. Cole looked like he had just gotten out of the shower, with only a towel wrapped around his waist, his hair still dripping. His apartment was also piled high with boxes and bags. Sure. Let me get dressed. I turned my face away and mumbled a quick okay. Wow, he has an 8-pack. The spicy hot pot made the tip of my nose sweat, and even the air conditioning couldn't cool me down, but I felt incredibly satisfied. After the first day of autumn, the temperature changed drastically. The weather, which should have been cooling down, suddenly shot up. The temperature soared to 104 degrees, nearing the August record high. People all over the country were complaining. A message went out from my old company group chat. Due to the high temperatures, commuting is difficult. Everyone is to work from home. I had quit my job to support Mark while he studied for his civil service exams. I always planned on going back, so I never left the group chat. My heart sank. It was happening again. In my past life, the intense heat lasted for 2 days, and everyone thought it was just a late-season Indian summer. But on the 3rd morning, the temperature skyrocketed to 154 degrees. Many elderly people died from heat stroke. The day before the great heat wave, I pulled all the thermal curtains shut, double-checked everything that needed to be stored or frozen, and reminded my parents to leave the air conditioners and fans running. After the apocalypse, no one would be checking the electric bill anyway. Lying in bed, I sent Cole a 2-word text. It's here. In the morning, the extreme heat arrived right on schedule. I pulled back a corner of the thermal curtain and felt a wave of relief that everything was in place. Just like last time, the building's group chat soon filled with death announcements. Going outside in this heat was suicide. Who would want to leave the comfort of their air-conditioned home? Of course, some people had to go out for groceries, including Mark and Tiffany. Normally, you could just order delivery, but in this hellish weather, who would deliver for you? In the afternoon, when the temperature cooled slightly, the supermarket was initially orderly, with people buying just enough for a day or two. But then someone realized something was wrong, and a panic-buying frenzy began. The store was stripped bare in minutes. Mark, a scrawny intellectual, and Tiffany, a weak woman, only managed to grab enough food for 2 or 3 days. Meanwhile, I was eating my mom's homemade dumplings, drinking an ice-cold Coke, and watching Game of Thrones. Pure bliss. After dinner, we didn't just relax. My dad hung a straw mat on the door to practice archery, while my mom filled every container in the house with water. We could drink the purified water, but using it to flush the toilet would be a total waste. Honey, come give it a try. I went over and tried. I could barely draw the bow, and the arrow missed the target completely. I realized this wasn't going to work. My body was too weak. I had to train. I had bought some fitness equipment when I was out stocking up. I decided to start with dumbbells. Mom, you should train too. If Dad and I are ever out, you need to be able to defend yourself. The 3 of us were sweating buckets. Okay, that's enough for today. Let's start with an hour and build up gradually. Go take a shower. While I could still shower freely, I wanted to take 10 a day. Before bed, my mom opened a can of chicken breast for Jelly Bean. On the 5th day of the heat wave, a light rain began to fall, and the weather slowly cooled. Just as everyone thought the hellish weather was finally over, the rain grew heavier, and the temperature, instead of dropping, began to rise again. It was hot and suffocating. This was not a good sign. The humidity would breed bacteria. Thank God we reinforced everything. On the first day of the downpour, the underground garage flooded. The car owners in our building were miserable. On the second day, the water on the complex grounds was over 2 feet deep. On the third day, the first floor was completely submerged. The entire city lost power and water. Occasionally you could get a trickle of water from the tap, but it was just muddy sludge. At 2 in the afternoon, a message suddenly popped up in the residents' group chat. Does anyone have fever medicine? Please bring some to me. My grandson has a fever. The message was from Karen, the lady from the neighborhood committee. I snorted. It would be a miracle if anyone helped her. Last month, her little monster was throwing rocks at people in the complex and hit a pregnant woman in the face. The woman scolded the kid, and he pushed her down a flight of stairs. The baby was lost, and the woman almost died. When the family went to confront them, Karen turned the tables, screaming insults at their door, cutting off their water and power, and even harassing them at their jobs until the family was forced to move away without any compensation. Auntie Karen, I think my sister-in-law Chloe's family sells medicine. Oh, silly me. Ex-sister-in-law. The bizarre temperatures had made many people in the complex sick, especially families with elderly members or children. After Tiffany fanned the flames, the chat exploded. The Millers, if you have medicine, share some. We're all neighbors. Yes, seriously. When your daughter gets married and moves out, you'll need us neighbors to look after you. Right, your family must have a huge stash of medicine. I'm willing to pay a high price. Me too. The ones offering to pay were at least sensible, but unfortunately for them, I wasn't selling. Mark tagged me directly in the chat. Chloe, your family sells medicine. You come from a family of pharmacists. How can you be so heartless? We're all neighbors. You won't even sell it, let alone give it away. I was so wrong about you. I actually thought you were a good person. With the sweltering heat and damp air, everyone's tempers were short. The chat was instantly flooded with attacks against my family. My dad was also in the group and started firing back. Who here hasn't gotten a 20% discount at Miller's Pharmacy? Who here has had a headache or a fever, and I didn't come over to check on them for free? A bunch of ungrateful bastards. I ignored the comments in the group chat. They'd stop when they got tired of yelling. Just then, I received 2 private messages. One was from Cole. Don't give them anything. The other was from Karen, the committee lady. Give me the medicine. I'm on the neighborhood committee. If you don't, you think the government will rescue you? My son works for the government. Her son was a security guard. Hilarious. Karen, probably seeing that I hadn't responded, posted an announcement in the group chat. Everyone, please contribute a portion of your supplies to be managed and distributed by the committee. Those who contribute will be prioritized for government rescue. Please sign up if you wish to participate. In my past life, after Karen collected all the supplies, she hid them in Mark's apartment and lied to everyone, saying they were washed away by the flood. She survived until the deep freeze by hoarding everyone else's life-saving food. Led by Mark, people started signing up in the group. I took a screenshot of Karen's private message to me and posted it in the chat. Some didn't believe it, and even said the government shouldn't rescue scum like me. Oh well. Everyone has their own fate. I've already played the saint once. The rain fell for almost 2 weeks, and the water level rose to the 4th floor. A kind mother and daughter let their downstairs neighbors move in with them. That night, both the mother and daughter were raped. Then they were forced to become prostitutes, servicing all sorts of men under the threat of death. In the apocalypse, humanity was gone. The real end of the world had arrived. Ever since someone discovered the new security doors on the stairwell between the 9th and 10th floors, they were convinced my family was hoarding supplies. Mark was even more vicious, posting pictures of the food Karen had hidden in his apartment to the group chat, claiming I had sent them to him to show off. On top of that, people outside started trying to cut through our door with a chainsaw. I had had enough. Time to test out my archery skills. I opened the door and ran right into Cole, who was also coming out, probably just as fed up as I was. Tiffany immediately started trying to stir up trouble. Cole, are you here to open the door for me? You should stay away from this evil woman. Cole, I've had a crush on you for so long. Can you let me in? I glanced over and saw Mark's face turn beet red. No man wants to see his girlfriend fawning over another guy. That made me crave some stir-fried pork liver. I needed to end this quickly so my mom could cook for me. Cole said nothing and walked toward the security door. I raised my bow and shot an arrow at Tiffany. Even the guy with the chainsaw stopped. I shook my head and sighed. Looks like my aim is still off. That's attempted murder, you know that? Ah, Chloe, you're going to hell for this. Cole, look at her. Just as I thought Cole was going to open the door for them, I was even ready to knock him out if I had to, he acted. Bang! The burly man with the chainsaw clutched his bleeding arm and screamed on the ground. I was stunned. Isn't he with the weather service? Where did he get a gun? Cole's gunshot definitely scared a lot of people. No one in the building dared to bother us again. Except for Mark, who secretly created a private group chat to plot against me. He added a large portion of the building's residents, but little did he know, one of the members was my burner account. A gun was a good thing. It would be useful against the mutated animals later. Speak of the devil. Chloe, Cole is here to see you. Okay, send him to my room. Mom, it's too hot out there. I don't want to move. It wasn't Cole's first time in my room, but it was the first time since the apocalypse started. He was surprised at how dry and cool it was. Chloe, your birthday is coming up. I didn't get you a proper gift this year, but see if you like this. It was a brand new handgun with 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Cole, this is more than perfect. The only thing is, I don't really know how to use it. Don't worry, I can teach you. You're smart, you'll pick it up in no time. Then I'll be in your hands. On the 50th day of the heat wave, the rain stopped. The super high temperature caused the water level to drop from the 6th floor to the 3rd in a single day. I knew the deep freeze was coming. I set all the air conditioners in the house to heat, had my parents put on their down jackets and lit the stove. I even put a little sweater and scarf on Jellybean. He looked so ridiculous I couldn't help but snap a picture. After taking all the precautions against the cold, I knocked on the door next door. Cole, make sure you bundle up tonight. The deep freeze is coming. Okay, I know. Thanks, Chloe. Cole didn't ask how I knew the deep freeze was coming, and I didn't ask how a civil servant got his hands on a forbidden item like a gun. We both had our secrets. Overnight, the temperature plummeted to over 40 degrees below zero. The water on the 3rd floor froze solid. Light sleepers woke up from the cold and added more blankets. Most people died in their sleep. I checked the security cameras. Mark and Tiffany were huddled together for warmth. They had no idea that Karen and her grandson, who were staying in the spare room, had already frozen to death in their beds. This was a camera I had installed in Mark's apartment ages ago to watch Jellybean. While many people could survive the extreme heat by helping each other, the deep freeze was a different story. Outside, it was a world of ice and snow, a pristine white landscape. The stove glowed red hot. We had bought smokeless coal, so we didn't have to worry about the smoke giving us away. My dad was curled up in his rocking chair, reading and sipping tea, living his best life. My mom was trying to figure out how to cultivate the seeds she had bought. We hadn't had fresh vegetables in almost 2 months. I was practicing shooting with Cole. Bullets were too precious, so I barely dared to fire. Most of the time, I just practiced aiming and posture, only firing a round or two occasionally. Mark survived on Karen's leftover food until the 10th day of the deep freeze. A group of people planned to storm my home tonight. I sent the chat logs from the group to Cole and asked him to join me. His aim was much better than mine. Night fell. I put on the thermal suit Cole had given me and prepared to set up an ambush. A hand stopped me. My dad, holding a bow and arrow, insisted on coming too. Dad, don't worry. Cole's with me. You and Mom just stay home and get the hot pot ready for when I get back. They dared to plot against me? I'll make sure they never return. Cole and I each hid in a corner. Mark's plan for the night had 3 phases. Phase 1. Use the chainsaw again to cut an opening in the door. Phase 2. They had found a tree trunk in the complex and planned to use it as a battering ram, like ancient soldiers breaching a city wall. Phase 3. They found a locksmith from the next building over to pick the lock. At 10 o'clock at night, we heard noises outside, followed by the roar of a chainsaw. I raised my pistol. This was my first real combat situation. I was a little excited. 1 shot, a headshot. The rest of them panicked but didn't give up, showing a grim determination to breach the door. Too bad for them, they ran into me. Cole fired off a few quick shots, bang, 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 and took down several more people. From downstairs, we heard Mark's anxious voice. Fall back. Get back here. The first door only had a small gash in it. Half an hour later, Mark launched his second attack. This time they were smarter. They tied the bodies of the dead to themselves as human shields, covering their entire bodies. I was at a loss. How was I supposed to shoot through that? Mark, as if he knew I was out of options, started shouting, "She can't hit us. The gun's useless. Keep pushing, everyone. When we get in, Chloe is a reward for all you brave men." Just then our door opened. My dad peeked out and handed me an iron bucket filled with red-hot coals. My parents had been watching through the peephole the whole time. My heart ached a little. They were so old, yet they still had to worry about me. I gave Cole a look. We both emerged from our hiding spots at the same time. When Mark saw me, he burst out laughing. "Chloe, you're scared now, aren't you? Just open the door obediently, and I'll be nice to you. You delicate little bitch. While I've been downstairs starving and freezing, you've been up here living in luxury. But don't worry, all your stuff will be mine soon." Cole picked up a piece of coal with tongs and shoved it in Mark's face. "You talk too much." Using his long reach, he charged at the men with the battering ram. The freezing cold had already exhausted them, and the repeated impacts had numbed their bodies. Did someone drop something? Ah, my ear. That's my ear. My thumb. My leg. In an instant, the floor was littered with scattered limbs. Their main force was disabled. When they turned to look for Mark, they found he was long gone. I don't know if it was because life had been too comfortable lately, but I let my guard down. After all, the first 2 brute force attacks had failed. A locksmith couldn't possibly get through these iron walls. "Cole, come on. Let's go have hot pot at my place." Outside, the wind howled, but inside my parents, Cole, and I were enjoying hot pot, with an air purifier running to minimize the smell. "Tripe, oh Tripe, what happened to you? 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007. Mr. Tripe has lost consciousness. He's cooked." A perfectly cooked piece of tripe, dipped in a thick layer of sesame paste, was pure bliss. But for some reason, Jelly Bean seemed spooked, meowing non-stop. Squeak, squeak. Then I remembered. Tonight was the first night of the rat plague. The mutated rats were starving and couldn't hold back any longer. "Mom, Dad, block every hole in the house. Cole, you go home and seal up your place too." I methodically directed our defenses. As I walked Cole to the door, I noticed something odd. The first security door was open, and there were 2 people crouched by the second door. Alarm bells went off in my head. It was Mark and the locksmith. "Cole, and I turned to go back inside for our guns. What the something's biting my foot. It's a rat. Why is this rat so big? My flesh. These rats are eating people. Run. Even though the mutated rats had driven Mark away, it was a harsh wake-up call. I could never underestimate anyone. The rats were already here. Cole, if you don't seal up your place now, it'll be too late. Chloe, I'm afraid it's already too late. When Cole and I opened his door, a room full of rats froze and stared at us. Just as they were about to pounce, Cole quickly slammed the door shut. That was so disgusting. We fled back to my apartment. Mr. Miller, my place has been overrun by rats. I might need to stay with you for a while. My dad clapped Cole on the shoulder. Of course, stay as long as you need. Chloe's room is warm. Why don't you make a bed on her floor? My mom chimed in. You two grew up together anyway. We're just sorry you have to sleep on the floor, Cole. Not at all, not at all. I'm just grateful you're letting me stay. I shot a sideways glance at my dear old dad. Did anyone ask for my opinion about him staying in my room? Hello. That night, maybe because the floor was too cold or because he'd been outside for too long, Cole kept trying to suppress a cough. Cole, why don't you just sleep on the bed? It's fine, Chloe. I'm already troubling you enough by being here. I'll warm up in a bit, cough cough. Cole, all 6'2" of him, was curled into a ball, his shoulders shaking. Get on the bed, or I'm turning off the stove. No. Cole, fine, then I'll sleep on the floor with you. If you catch a cold, my parents will kill me tomorrow. Well, okay then. I slept soundly that night, the best I had since the apocalypse began. I woke up the next morning to Cole's flawless face just inches from mine. I was curled up in his arms. I jerked back and gasped. Ow. Chloe, where did you hit yourself? Let me rub it for you. My face instantly flushed. It's nothing, it doesn't hurt. Cole smiled as he made the bed. Still so clumsy. Embarrassed, I hurried out to get breakfast, missing the faint blush on the tips of Cole's ears. A lot of people died last night. Miraculously, by morning, all the bodies outside had vanished. I don't know if the rats ate them or what. With nothing better to do, I checked the security camera. I saw Mark and Tiffany sitting with a few guys with full-sleeve tattoos. A pot was boiling with some unknown creature inside. Where did they get food? Don't tell me it's rats. Mark was the first to pull a piece of meat from the pot. It was bright red. It didn't look like rat meat, it looked more like... I remembered the way Mark had looked at the severed limbs yesterday. It all made sense. I quickly switched to the camera in the other room. The bodies of Karen and her grandson were gone. In their place was a row of fresh, frozen corpses. Among them were some of the men who had tried to attack our door yesterday. It seemed Mark and his group had started eating people a while ago. The camera suddenly switched to the living room, where Mark and his group were eating with gusto. As if sensing something, he picked up a piece of meat and waved it at the camera. The camera's red light turns on when it's being viewed. Mark must have realized I was watching him. I also discovered something else. He had been pimping Tiffany out to those tattooed guys, forming a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship. In my last life, Mark and Tiffany pushed me out for food. In this life, he could send the woman he supposedly loved to her doom without blinking an eye. I laughed at my own expense. Turns out Tiffany wasn't any better off than I was. On the 50th day of the deep freeze, the sound of an airplane echoed through the sky. A broadcast played on a loop as supplies were airdropped. A government rescue base has been established in Haven City. If there are any survivors, you are humanity's last hope. Please proceed there to participate in Project Fireseed. A government rescue base has been established in Haven City. If there are any survivors, you are humanity's last hope. Please proceed there to participate in Project Fireseed. I didn't live this long in my past life, so I didn't know what happened next. There probably weren't many survivors. As humanity's last hope, I felt we had a duty to join Project Fireseed. Cole fully supported me. My mom, on the other hand, was a little sad about the food we'd have to leave behind. She spent the next few days cooking up all the best things we had. Cole and I agreed not to go for the airdrop supplies. First, we had enough food to last 2 or 3 years, so it wasn't worth the risk. Second, We wanted to see if there were any other survivors besides us. Standing in the bedroom, with the heater blasting, I knew almost everyone downstairs was dead. It didn't matter if they heard the diesel generator now. I lifted a corner of the curtain. The snow was falling harder, already piled up to the 8th floor. Through the blur, I saw a familiar figure. It was Mark. He was still alive, and he was holding a gun. There was another man with him, moving more nimbly than Mark. Before Mark got there, he had already grabbed a bag of compressed biscuits, a pack of noodles, and a 20-pound bag of rice. The snow was too heavy to see who it was. I couldn't tell if he was a friend or foe. Mark, however, was dragging back entire crates, leaving nothing for anyone else. I couldn't see what Mark was doing now. After he found out I was watching, he covered the camera with a cloth, only taking it off occasionally to taunt me while eating human flesh. Every time I watched him eat, I felt sick to my stomach. We decided to leave in 2 days, packing 3 months' worth of food for the 4 of us and the cat. But something strange happened. The night before we were supposed to leave, all our stored food vanished, leaving only what we had packed for the trip. I didn't dwell on it. As long as we had enough for the road, it was fine. My dad even teased my mom. See? Now you don't have to worry about the food going to waste. Maybe it got transported to someone who needs it more than we do. Before we left, my right eyelid started twitching uncontrollably. Cole, I want to check Mark's apartment one last time. I have a bad feeling. Cole immediately started getting dressed. I'll go with you. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. Mark was nowhere to be found in the apartment. The floor was covered in frozen chunks of meat. The bodies in the spare room were almost completely eaten. I looked toward the kitchen, and Cole instantly covered my eyes. Don't look. It's pretty gross. I knew what he meant. If even Cole said it was gross, it had to be bad. The bodies of the tattooed men were lying in the living room, apparently killed in a surprise attack. The body of a young woman near the entrance had to be Tiffany. Her pelvis was shattered, her breasts had been bitten off, and her body was covered in bruises, her clothes in tatters. I pulled a sheet from the bedroom and covered her. For some reason, it made me feel a little better. The soup in the pot isn't frozen yet. Mark probably didn't get far. He's probably trying to get to the rescue base too. As long as he doesn't cause any trouble, let him be. After all, he was one of the few remaining seeds of humanity. Before we went back inside, Cole stopped me. Chloe, there's something I need to tell you. Chloe, all that stuff from your house, it was me. I smiled and cut him off. You put it away, right? Cole froze for a second, a blush creeping up his face. I wasn't trying to steal your things. I have a space that exists outside this world. Inside the Pichio charm on the bracelet my dad left me. I put everything in there. We can take it out whenever we need it. I never expected Cole to be so upfront with me, much less that a small bracelet could hold such power. Can I go inside and see? Maybe I was being too forward, because Cole just stared at me. If not, it's okay. I trust you, Cole. No, it's not that, Chloe. From what I've figured out, if you want to come in, we have to hold hands, palm to palm. I gave him a playful smile. Is my hand not good enough for you, Cole? You don't want to hold my hand anymore? No, he said, his usually calm voice tinged with emotion. The space was huge, like a villa. It was already stocked with a lot of things, probably from Cole's own prepping, daily necessities, fruits and vegetables, none of which ever rotted. There was even an SUV, a snowmobile, a speedboat, and an entire wall of various weapons. Cole, there's something I want to tell you too. Since Cole had opened up to me, I decided to be honest as well. Cole, do you believe in rebirth? Like living a second life? That's how I knew the apocalypse was coming and was able to prepare. Cole's gaze was deep as he looked at me. Chloe, in your last life, did it end well for you? I shook my head. No. I died in the first week of the deep freeze. I don't know what happened after that. Cole pulled me into his arms. Chloe, this time, we'll both make it through. My eyes welled up. Yeah, we will. Cole took a snow-ready SUV out of the space and parked it downstairs. My dad was unfazed. He was used to this kind of strange occurrence by now. It was 58 below zero outside. I had my parents and Jellybean get in the car first to warm up while Cole and I continued moving our things. At the 9th floor landing, my eyes caught a glint of light. It was a piece of ice, with a person hiding behind it. Suddenly, someone grabbed my leg. "Chloe, are you going to the base? Take me with you, please. You used to love me so much." "Mark, you said it yourself. Used to." Mark hugged my leg tightly. "Chloe, I saw you have a car. I'm a civil servant. If you take me, the base will definitely prioritize us." I shook my leg, kicking him off, and finally got a good look at him. His leg was dangling at an odd angle, probably broken. His clothes were caked with frozen blood, and he was wrapped in at least 10 layers, looking like a bloated dumpling. Mark started screaming like a madman. "Chloe, I gave you a chance, and you threw it away. If you won't take me, then you can just die. You wanted to get with this Cole guy all along, didn't you? When I asked to break up, you just went along with it. You two-faced bitch. Once he finds out what a cheap slut you are, do you think he'll still want you? When he dumps you, let's see what you do then. You worthless tramp. You can go feed yourself to the rats." Mark pulled out a dagger and lunged at me with suicidal determination. The attack caught me off guard. The stairs were right behind me. There was no room to retreat. I was about to run down when I fell into a familiar embrace. It was Cole. He let me go, his face tense with worry. "Chloe, are you okay?" "I've fine." Seeing his attack had failed, Mark screamed, "You two bastards, go to hell." Before Cole could even try to disarm him, the dagger fell from Mark's hand. Then Mark's body began to twist into a grotesque shape, his eyes filling with an unnatural red. His hands clawed at the air. Help me." A blade of sunlight reflected off the dagger. The sun was out. Before the apocalypse, the sun would have been a welcome sight. But now, my heart sank. This was going to make the journey much harder. "Cole, what Mark said just now, it's all lies." Cole cut me off. "It's okay, Chloe. Let's go." Once we were downstairs, Cole worked his magic again, pulling out 4 sets of snow chains and strapping them to the tires. The car moved slowly. In the rearview mirror, I could see a strangely shambling figure following us. The car was unusually silent until my dad spoke up. "That's Mark. Looks like he has mad cow disease. Prion infection." Prion disease is contracted from cannibalism. It seemed this was all inevitable. I pressed my lips together, wondering what things were like elsewhere. A month later, we successfully reached the rescue base. Unexpectedly, we ran into some familiar faces. A couple from our building. I remembered them well. The husband had received a first-class merit award, and the complex had put up a banner to celebrate. The base was called Project Fireseed. A guard saluted us and had us register our information. "Congratulations on your safe arrival. You are the hope of humanity." There was a column on the registration form for the relationship between party members. Cole and I looked at each other and smiled, then wrote down, "Partners. Cole's extra. My name is Cole. I'm one of those pitiful kids who grew up without parents." The neighborhood aunts and uncles all said my dad was a great hero, but no one knew that I didn't want a hero. I just wanted a mom and dad. But I was lucky. The Millers next door had a little girl, a cute, pink little dumpling. On the anniversaries of my parents' deaths, she would always find some excuse to stay at my house. "Cole, my mom and dad went to my grandma's today. They said I should stay with you." Liar. I saw Mr. Miller going out to buy groceries just an hour ago. "Cole, I did badly on my monthly test. Can you go over the exam with me? A 96 isn't good enough? Who could possibly do better than you? Cole, your TV is so big. Cartoons look way better on it than on mine. Our TVs are the exact same size." The strange thing was I never minded. I was a few years older than the little girl. After college, I became a researcher for the military, though officially, I just worked for the weather service. Life in the military was dull. I could only pass the time by looking at pictures of her. I hadn't seen her since she graduated. I heard she had a boyfriend, and for some reason, it made me sad. One night, I had a dream. I dreamt that the little girl was deceived by her boyfriend. I dreamt he forced her into prostitution. I dreamt he pushed her out the door to be eaten by giant rats. And in the dream, I was powerless to help. I took the military's latest piece of tech, a conscious spatial storage unit, and made the access point the Pichio charm my dad had left me. After reporting the matter to my superiors, I took leave to go home. As soon as I got back, I saw her being bullied by her boyfriend, but she was sharp-tongued and gave as good as she got, not losing the fight at all. She was just like she was when we were kids, her eyes crinkling when she smiled. I had saved up some money over the years in the military, and I used it to stock up on supplies. But I discovered that my little neighbor and her family were also secretly stocking up. For the first time, I thought maybe the dream was wrong. This was completely different from what I'd seen. It wasn't until the unusual heat wave arrived that I realized the dream was real. But some things had changed. The day before we left for the rescue base, I learned she had been reborn. I never told her about my dream. All I knew was that this time, my girl was alive. I was so glad she had the strength to change her fate, and I was so relieved that we didn't miss our chance. I love her so much, but she can be a little dense. She still hasn't noticed that the young soldiers at the base keep secretly saluting me.